Well, a very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Knockhill Racing Circuit here in Scotland for another race day here with the Scottish Motor Racing Club. We are about to get underway for a full day of action. Out on track, you can see it is the Scottish Mini Cooper Cup, featuring the Mini Cooper S's and the more powerful R53s out on their green flag lap. Of course, bringing you up to speed with the season so far. The big talking point is the Mini Championship itself. Obviously, looking at the points for the Mini Cooper S's, the R53s, Jamie Blake currently leading the championship with 152 points. We'll come back and talk about that in just a second. We'll talk about the Mini Cooper Cup, though, in general, because the big story today, your championship leader, Michael Weddle, is not taking part in qualifying. A drive shaft issue forced him out to retire of qualifying. He will take part in race one, but it's going to be a heroic drive if he makes that work, because he is going to start at the back of the grid, leading Chad Little in the championship by what looks like 24 points. Jack Irvine on 172 points, Ian Munro on 167. Again, just a couple of rounds left to go in this championship. Turn our attention then to the Scottish Mini Cooper S's. Jamie Blake out in front of a very small field here, 4 cars with Andrew Lamont, Craig Blake and Christopher Watt out there as well. 4 points being the difference between Jamie Blake and Andrew Lamont up there, so still everything to play for in these final couple of rounds. We've got 2 races for the Mini Cooper Cup. In terms of the championship, this is the newcomers as well. You can see Jack Irvine ahead of Ewan Robertson. It's been a commanding season for Jack Irvine, 275 points out on the front of that championship just now. Ewan Robertson really doesn't have any chance whatsoever, unless Jack Irvine was to suddenly disappear from the entirety of the championship. So the 65 in a dominant position. So a very good morning, everyone. My name is David Christie. I'm going to be here in the commentary box all day. Joining me for the Classic Sports and Saloons, as always, is going to be Malcolm Smith, and our roving pit lane reporter, the rather young, the rather helpful Andy Alston, is going to be down there trackside very, very shortly. This is how they line up, though, for our first race of the day. For the 53s, Craig Blake alongside Jamie Blake and Andrew Lamont on pole position. For the Mini Cooper Cup, then, Chad Little is in pole position ahead of Neil Hose. It's then going to be Ian Munro in that third position there. So a decent third position there for Ian Munro alongside Jack Irvine in the newcomers. Daniel Patterson is on row 3 with Ryan Smith, and then Gordon Long on 4 with Dan Martin alongside Finn Mash on row 5 with Ewan Robertson. Row 6 is going to be Stephen Morrison and Chris Coburn. David Taylor, it's a disappointing 13th position for him alongside Nick Ormiston in 14th. 5th position for Andrew Bell, but keep your eye at the back of the grid for that number 1 car. Michael Weddle going to be trying to absolutely carve things up like a Sunday dinner today here on the first race of the weekend. It's been a fantastic return here to Knockhill. Of course, the car's back out after that wonderful trip down south, but it's back to business today. It's back to the proper stuff here at Knockhill. And they'll be wishing, I'm sure, that they were back at Cadwell after that fantastic day out. But in association with Project 21 Detailing, here is the Scottish Mini Cooper Cup. Let's get underway. The red lights are on and they're off, and away we go racing for the first race of the day here at Knockhill. cracking start as always for the R53s, the much more powerful variant of the cars that are on the grids. They make their way down into Duffus for the first time of asking Chad Little, as we said, going to be alongside Neil Hose. So we've got two races that we're going to keep our eye on. Arguably the more dramatic one that we're going to be keeping our eye on is the cars at the back here. This is the Scottish Mini Cooper Cup. As you can see, the two trains already starting to get themselves about, and I'm just having a look there. That is the number 19 at the back there. That is Nick Ormiston, who was in 14th position in class and now all the way at the back of the grid there. Just watching the cars making their way through. We've already got a 3-car battle wide for the R53s on the inside. That is the 95 of Craig Blake. Jamie Blake trying to make it 3 wide into the corner, and that is a little bit wild and sketchy for your first lap of the race. But for the Mini Cooper Cup, it's Neil Hose who takes the lead of that one just now. So taking that position from Chad Little. Chad Little needs to get the championship points. He needs to get the performance here today. As you can see, the R53s coming down in towards McIntyre's, and they just have so much fun. There might only be 3 of them, but they just love absolutely sending these things into the corner there. But you can see the airline pilot Neil Hose just in the background there, getting a little bit wrong coming out of McIntyre's into Butcher's there. So a little bit of a moment there, but you can also see that the bright yellow machine of Ian Munro starting to fall a little bit away there. As you've got, that looks like Neil Hose and Chad Little fighting it out almost side by side. There we go, almost 3 wide into the hairpin again, and it's the two Blake brothers again knocking almost lumps out of each other there, but managing to avoid any sort of contact. Firm but fair racing here as Jamie Blake and Craig Blake still going hammer and tongs as they come across the line for lap number 3 of this race here for your Mini Cooper Cup race 1 here. And as we said, for the Mini Coopers, it's going to be Neil Hose ahead of Chad Little right now. And again, the great thing with this essentially two races in one right now is the fact that you're kind of spoiled with all the different battles going on here. I love the fact that it looks almost like Andrew Lamont is kind of just leaving the Blake brothers to do their own thing. Is that he's just not wanting to have any part of this whatsoever. And the two of them starting to get a little bit of a distance. Looks like about 3 car lengths that he has got, and you can see just how much the car's wiggling at the bumpy surface here at Knockhill. It does look very flat, but it is very, very different, I can assure you, when you're behind the wheel of the car. But as we go into the hairpin then, it is indeed Neil Hose who leads Chad Little ahead of Ian Munro. That's your top 3. 65 of Jack Irvine in 4th position there, holding on to that lead train for the Mini Cooper Cup right now, and did a grand job in not only in the newcomers but in general as well in this overall Mini Cooper Cup. So very, very much in the fight for this just now. Don't make any mistake, I mean, those 2 cars that are in behind there, they are definitely still in contention here right now, as we see Ian Munro desperately trying to hold on to the back of that little battle for the lead here as well. Just try to get an idea of that car that's in 5th place, and that's a little bit wide there for Neil Hose, and that drags out as well the 25 of Chad Little there. Very easy mistake to make because the car's just pushing everything that they can over the hill there at the chicane and just letting the cars wash out wide. They run a couple of the tyres into the gravel on the left-hand side of the car, but no issues there. And you can see there, now we're starting to get a little bit backed up here around the outside. That's a move and a half there from Jack Irvine. Tried to make it stick there, but the number 23, number 23 there, not letting him have any room. Ian Munro wanted to try and think about making a move onto Chad Little, and that left him vulnerable there to Jack Irvine. So fantastic move from the newcomer. This is an absolutely riveting battle that we've got. We're on lap 6 just now of this first race of the day, and certainly setting things up very, very well for a brilliant, brilliant day of racing here at Knockhill. And again, we keep focus with this league group for the Mini Cooper Cup right now, because Neil Hose now has a little semblance of breathing space right now because of 25 of Chad Little. He's been left to have to fight that 23 of Ian Munro. Munro is just poised, waiting, tucked in behind the wing of that Mini Cooper Cup car. Has looked to the right hand side, going to try and be late on the brakes, but again, it's more just to make sure that that 25 of Chad Little knows that Ian Munro is waiting in the mirrors. Now, they're going to have to be careful there, because in the background you've got Gordon Long and Daniel Patterson in 5th and 6th position, and you've got well, it looks like a black and white driving standards flag being held out for a driver. We'll try and get an ID on who that is that's getting the wrist slapped from the stewards right now. But again, this 4-car train makes its way down. Oh, and that's a huge lunge up the inside from Ian Munro there. He might be able to make that stick there. Chad Little could go side by side. This is going to end in tears before bedtime. But somehow, oh, and that's big contact. That's going to be Jack Irvine straight into the side there of Chad Little there. Unbelievable car control from the two of them. Very likely could be some damage to the front left there. Jack Irvine there. There was nothing he could do about it. It looked like he was just way too late onto the brakes into the chicane there. The car went spearing off over onto the grass and then into the back end there of Chad Little. So that now means that there's a bit of breathing room, and that drops Ian Munro all the way down behind. That's the 30 of Gordon Long and the 18 of Dan Patterson. So huge drama here. And now that means that Neil Hose has now been left with what was a 3-car battle behind him to absolutely clear road behind him. And he'll be like, okay, thanks very much for that. He'll be very, very happy with that. However, the case is that Gordon Long is starting to close that gap in very, very slightly. Ian Munro's going to feel very, very aggrieved. Somehow he avoided all of that, even though it looked like he was most likely to be the one that was going to be caught up in that. An amazing instant though between the 18. Between your newcomers. We've got yellow flags out at the exit of. Let's have a look. Yeah, so that's Clark's. That's the yellow flags are flying from. So just having a quick look there. But anyway, your main battle still going down into the hairpin just now, as we can see another battle going on behind there. I think that might be Finn Marsh that is involved in that one. So there we go, move for position in. Ian Munro trying to undo the damage that has been done there. That is going to be on the number 18 there that he gets that position back from. And that was a fairly orderly move there. So the 18 of Dan Patterson has to give up that position, that 5th position there, back to Ian Munro. Although isn't going to give it up without a fight. They're still tucked up behind the car there, behind that bright luminous yellow into that car there. The number 30 as well, just up the road there, is Gordon Long. So now that car, again, it was looking like Gordon Long was starting to close the gap down a little bit there as we cross the line with 4 laps left to go here. It's still at the lead of the Mini Cooper R53s. It's Craig Blake ahead of Jamie Blake and Andrew Lamont. That's your top 3 as Neil Hose sends it over Duffus Dip there. The car squirreling to get any sort of traction coming down the hill here. He knows he's going to have to get a move on here. As up the inside, that's a great move then. Brilliant stuff from Ian Munro to take 2nd place again in that class. So a great recovery drive from the yellow machine, the 23 there of Ian Munro, makes his way past Gordon Long. Patterson is going to try and have a little look there in the number 18 as well. As up the inside, that's Chad Little, who sent it from about 2 weeks ago there, makes the move stick. And to be fair, Dan Patterson, I think, is one to have absolutely no part of this whatsoever. So that's a great move done for Chad Little again. It's a recovery drive, that's all you can say here. Meanwhile, the other point that is absolutely huge is the fact that while we were looking at all of this, Michael Weddle, your championship leader, did not start that race. the number one, did not start that race. He's not on the track. He's not anywhere in this race. So that has unbelievable championship consequences. We'll try and pick the bones out of that one when it gets nearer the time. But 3 laps left to go in this first race of the day, and this could be a pivotal moment, and that is Ian Munro wide into the kitty litter there on the exit of McIntyre's there. He is pushing a little bit too hard in this car here, and what happens when you overheat those tyres, when you really push them a little bit too hard, they get slippy and slidey, and you lose all sort of traction, and you really start noticing it in the lap times then. So Ian Munro, very lucky to escape with that one, but I think he has escaped with that one nonetheless. Also noticing that Finn Mash up into 9th position, David Taylor into 10th position as well there. But this is our lead battle, or sorry, our second place battle for the Mini Cooper Cup right now. It's still Craig Blake from Jamie Blake and Andrew Lamont. 2 laps left to go in this first race of the day here. Have a look at the pressure that Ian Munro is coming under right now from Gordon Long as they come into Duffus Dip. Gordon Long still holding with the car in front, but doesn't look like he's got anything as they come down Butchers. If anything, it looks like it's going to be Chad Little that is applying all the pressure as we get into these final laps of this race. If you ask me, it looks like it's going to be Neil Hose to take the win of this race from Ian Munro in second and potentially Chad Little in third place, because Chad is looking very hungry to get this final step on the podium here, and you wouldn't bet against him to do it. However, if you are going to have one man that's out there going to stop that happening, then it is definitely going to be Gordon Long. We spoke at odds and at great lengths through the beginning of the season at what a remarkable change that it has been for Gordon Long. And obviously, watching Gordon come on in leaps and bounds in terms of his driving ability, in terms of his aggression, in terms of his skill, it's just been fantastic to watch him develop over the past couple of seasons. But it could be Chad Little side by side with Gordon Long, gets the move done under braking into Duffus Dip. We're now on to our last lap then for the R53s. They're already through. Our Mini Cooper Cup cars are just coming through, and halfway through the lap just now, and it does look like that is a done deal then for Andrew Lamont in that third position. Neil Hose is going to take the win for the Mini Cooper Cup, and then it's going to be Gordon Long. Oh, and that is Finn Mash in contact with David Taylor. And that looks to be at the end of Duffus Dip. So there we go. The checkered flag is out then. It's going to be a win for Neil Hose in the Mini Cooper Cup class. Great job there. Craig Blake takes the flag for the R53s. Jamie Blake in seconds for the R53s. And Andrew Lamont in third for the R53s. Neil Hose takes the win for the Mini Cooper Cup. Ian Munro in second place. And Chad Little will get third place in the Mini Cooper Cup. A crazy race to start things off here. That last lap drama there between Finn Mash and David Taylor. Both of those cars look like they did manage to get recovered onto the track there, but that looked like it could have very well been contact. And you can see the R53s. This is exactly what I was saying earlier on. There may only be 3 of them, but they have the best time. Absolutely going for it with these cars. So great to see that the camaraderie is strong with the R53s. But what a race for the Mini Cooper Cup. The championship absolutely blown wide open with the fact that Michael Whittle, for the first time this season, will score no points from a round whatsoever. Now, the big question is, can he get that car repaired for the next round, for the next race rather. Now that is going to be a little later on today, but that is going to be an absolutely huge question. So he's got basically until 5 to 2 this afternoon to get that working, and that is going to be a very big ask to do. The car's making their way in, and very shortly we'll be heading over to pit lane, to the holding area to have a chat with Andy Alston and our race winners after that ridiculous race one there. Hope you guys at home all enjoyed it. As always, if you could like the stream, share it with all your friends, give us a shout out in the YouTube chat, and we'll do our best to come and interact with you throughout the day. Up next is going to be the Scottish Legend Cars Championship. Haven't even had a chance to tell you about our visiting rounds on this round and the next one as well. It is going to be an epic race. But the cars making their way over into the holding area just now. And while we get them all lined up, they're going to be getting themselves all sorted out. So just having a look outside our commentary box here. And I think, without any further ado, it's time to hand it over to our rather intrepid pit lane reporter, Andy Alston, down there in the holding area.
Well, what a dramatic opener in the Mini Cooper S Cup. Craig Blake leading the way, and he joins us now. Craig, that was a very dramatic race for us to watch. It must have been even more so in the cockpit. Just talk us through that one.
Very much so. I don't know why I'm really emotional. That wins for Molly. That one's for Molly. Yeah. That one's for Molly. We've got Ashley here today as well, so she's over there, so that's for her. But good race. Jamie was on me, Andy was coming. On to race 2 and see if we can beat the birthday boy again. So it's 25th birthday for Jamie today, so yeah, it's a good day out for his birthday.
Yeah, not a bad way to spend your birthday, I would have thought. Yeah, absolutely.
Not bad at all, but no, thank you very much, and as I say, that one's for Molly.
Great stuff, Craig. Many congratulations. Great start to the weekend. Craig Blake there leading the way in the Mini Cooper S Cup. Let's take a quick look at some of the drivers as well in the Mini Cooper Cup. Of course, lots of drama in there throughout in race number 1. Let's get a quick catch up with a couple of other drivers and see what's what. Just get a quick chat with Jamie Blake first and the Mini Cooper S Cup. Jamie, really great scrapping at the front between you three. Just talk us through that one. Do you think there was maybe a chance of snatching the win towards the end?
Well, really good racing between three of us, all clean racing, nobody hitting into each other, so that was really good fun and hard work. But I got past Craig maybe a few laps into the race. I had it for a few laps, and then he got back through and he was just defending really, really well into the hairpin, and I was also trying to make sure Andy didn't come past me at the hairpin when I was trying to get Craig, so good result for all of us, I think. Good fun.
Definitely. And what's the kind of expectations going into race number 2 then? Any kind of lessons learned from the car or anything like that going into the second one?
Probably just more of the same, I think, but having a few little issues with it, but I think everybody has things now and then, so try and just do our best.
Well, Jamie, congratulations, great start out there today. Jamie Blake there in car number 95 there, so really good start to his weekend as well. Great action, I have to say, in the Mini Cooper S Cup, so lots in there to keep an eye on as the day unfolds. And of course we had Neil Hose winning in the Mini Cooper Cup as well in the Triple One car. Really good start to his weekend. Lots of drama behind as well, of course, and that is one we're going to have to keep an eye on as the day unfolds. A little bit of the panels there that you can see just that the team will need to get a little look at, but good start to the weekend for the Triple One car of Neil Hose. And with the action about to get underway just in a few moments' time, I'll hand back to Dave Christie in the commentary box.
Thank you very, very much there, Andy Elson down there in pit lane. And apologies it took so long to actually get through to Andy. My radio failed here in the commentary box. So not to break the illusion here, but your boy here was doing the artistic semaphore dance to try and get the attention of Andy, and we got there eventually in the end. So great to hear from the drivers as well. Also, we have to turn our attention in just a second to an incredible race that's about to get underway. But we have to say a huge thank you to Project 21 Detailing for making that last race happen, the Scottish Mini Cooper Cup, and also in association with Yokohama Tyres. You are watching the SMRC Race Day live, sponsored by Reese Motorsport Insurance. Dave Christie, Andy Elson and Malcolm Smith here with you throughout the course of the day. Now up next, is a very welcome return to the SMRC for the Scottish Legends Championship. Now, they have been a stalwart within the SMRC over the past couple of decades. They made the switch to go elsewhere, still racing at Knockhill, but have decided to come back for a couple of meetings towards the end of this season, and it's very welcome to host them and welcome them back. So what are the Legends cars? Well, the Legends cars are 5/8 scale racers. They were based on models that were the pre-war machines, the likes of Ford, Chevy and Dodge bodies. There was around about 8 styles that were produced that are capable of being in this, but the most common one that you find is the Ford variant. Now, what these are bona fide, absolute, unadulterated race cars. These are stripped out chassis with a really, really powerful bike engine thrown in there. About 122 brake horsepower on something that weighs about maybe 700-800 kilos. It is very, very lightweight, very, very powerful, and very, very enjoyable indeed. So there's no qualifying for the Legends. They take part in a random draw that takes place before the first race, and that means that the cars are now out on track. So up in pole position then is going to be Billy Waite ahead of Ben McNeice. Brent Bowie on row 2 alongside Mark Reed. Pino Palazzo is going to be on row 3. And then on row 4, Ben Mason and LB Clark. Row 5 is going to be Scott Smith and Stuart Black. Row 6 is going to be Stuart Robertson and Ryan McLeish. And then at the back of the grid, Peter McKernan. Now, what makes this different from everything else that you're going to see today is that these drivers take part in a rolling start. You can see the lights off on the safety car. We're ready to go racing here at Knockhill. So that means that it's going to be the car in front of Billy Waite that determines the start of this race. The car will pull off at the tri-oval, and then the rest of the cars will make their way round. They're loud, they're fast, they're aggressive, and they are very, very boisterous indeed. If you've not seen these cars before, you're in for a treat here. Scottish Legends Racing returns to the SMRC at the end of the 2022 season as a guest race. The lights are on. We're ready to go racing here at Knockhill, and away they go. The engines roar into life here as they come down towards Duffus Dip for the first time of asking. Expect sideways action from at least 4 or 5 of the cars as they make their way down here. It's going to be fast, firm, but fair racing. As you can see, Billy Waite out in the lead of the race there, making his way right there. Ben McNeice still in that second place. You can see at the tail end of the group there, number 53 of Stuart Robertson, but they're all pretty much line astern coming through this first lap then. At the back of the grid is the number 68, our very own, Knockhill's very own Scott Smith, making his regular outing here in the Legends. And takes his way part through that as well. And you can see in third place there, that looks like that is going to be Mark Reed trying to make a move up the inside here. That's the 75. Pino Palazzo trying to get involved as well here. So it's almost 2-3 cars abreast here coming at the end of this lap here. Now, don't be surprised to see as well cars, you know, having contact with each other front to rear. That's known as bump drafting here in this specific race because of the bull bars that are on the front of these cars. So you've got a car taken to the escape road there. I think that was Pino Palazzo that was going down the escape road there, as we still see in the lead of the race there. Billy Waite, and that is a car off into the gravel, just managing to get rejoined there. I think that was the 53, Stuart Robertson, who was coming into some sort of mischief here. Now, this is the other interesting dynamic of these cars because of the very light power to weight ratio. The very, very light cars and quite formidable power, 122 brake horsepower in these things. The tyres get very, very hot and very, very slippery very, very quickly indeed. And it is indeed up into second place. So that is Ben McNeese, I believe that is at the front of the grid there. The number 82 into the lead ahead of Billy Waite there. Third place is currently Ben Mason, Stuart Black in fourth position. Pino Palazzo in fifth, Ryan McLeish in sixth position. Brent Bowie makes his way up to seventh. Peter McKernan in eighth place for Peter McKernan, and Mark Reed down in ninth position. That's a move up the inside there from the 22. Ben Mason, cool, calm and collected as you like. Absolutely no issue with that move whatsoever. And to be honest with you, it looked a little bit like Billy Waite there just didn't have anything in the tank to hold on to that. And that's a move up the inside as well there. So Ben McNeese having to fight off here. Billy Waite already. And look at the momentum that the 52 of Stuart Black has got here. This is fantastic scenes right now. The 22, the 82 and the 52 all fighting it out. And I'm wondering actually if Billy Waite's got a problem, because that 17 is going backwards at a rate of knots. He was in the lead of the race and now going backwards very, very quickly indeed. Side by side over the start-finish line then. Ben McNeese and Stuart Black here. We've got 5 laps left to go. And when I said it was fast and frenetic racing, I really wasn't kidding you on here with the Scottish Legends Championship then. Ben Mason, though, in the lead of this race, and he's got a handsome gap over Ben McNeese right now by about 2 car lengths right now. Coming up over the chicane there, and on the entry to Clark Corner, on that uphill section. And again, the cars can roar into life. They can really put that right foot down to the floor and let these cars do all the work. And that's huge slipstream there by the 52 of Stuart Black. Oh, a little bit of contact there, under braking, as the 52 of Stuart Black tried to come across the 22 there of Ben Mason. And that was a huge move there. And again, what tends to happen is the weight of these cars shifts onto the front axle. So I'm fairly certain it wouldn't have been a deliberate move there by Stuart Black under braking. But when you're trying to get these things slowed down, the weight transfers to that front axle, and that affects your steering as well there. So into the lead of the race then, Stuart Black now having to fight for his life to hold on to this ahead of Ben Mason. Ben Mason tucked in behind that sleek little Ford coupe here. The two of them off into the distance. Way ahead of Ryan McLeish and Ben McNeese. They two have been left into the dust. In fact, so is everybody else. Billy Waite in no man's land right now. And that is a big, big boost of air for the 22 there of Ben Mason. Wasn't sure what he was going to do there. He did move to the outside, but you also saw that he was happy just to tuck in behind and get the drag from that car that was in front of Stuart Black here. We've now got 3 laps left to go here. And you can hear that Yamaha 1250cc engine screaming into life there. A huge sideways moment there for Stuart Black. Hands the lead on a plate there to Ben Mason. So Ben Mason now in the lead of the race. The tyres are screaming for mercy at this point in the race here. Ryan McLeish fancies getting involved in this one as well. They come bouncing over the chicane here. And again, in the background there, Ben McNeese kind of in no man's land at the moment, but Ben Mason fancies to get this race win right now, because have a look at Stuart Black behind. And again, there's the bump drafting that I was telling you about earlier on. You can see Stuart Black locked to the tail ends of the car in front, NASCAR style, giving him a little bit of a push up because they don't want that car behind him. They don't want Ryan McLeish to get onto this little train here. What will likely be happening is Stuart Black wants to keep this a two-car race. He maybe feels comfortable knowing that he can try and take this position from Ben Mason. But at the moment, Ryan McLeish closing in fast. We've got yellow flags at the bottom of Duffus here. You've got a car facing the wrong way into the tyre wall, so that's why we've got the yellow flags there. A little bit of a mistake there for Stuart Black, and that costs him a couple of tenths of seconds. And that will bring Ryan McLeish even closer. We've got 2 laps left to go, so penultimate lap of this race here. We're going to be on to the last lap of the race in just a couple of seconds time here, and that is the number 4 car of Peter McKernan that is out at the bottom of Duffus, and I'm understandably looking very dejected, very confused, and that is a little look on the outside from the number 52. Stuart Black still thinking about it, but the going to be the white flag out at this time by. It's going to be the last lap board held out. You can see the yellow flags flying to signify that danger at the bottom of Duffus Dip, though. As we go into our final lap, though, of our Legends race, Ben Mason leads Stuart Black right now. Have a look. That was a huge power slide there from the 71 of Ryan McLeish coming down Duffus Dip there. No quarter given or asked between any of these drivers right now, as down through Butchers and then up over through the chicane then. Ben Mason still has Stuart Black firmly in his tail vision right now, in his mirrors. And have a look at Ryan McLeish. Ryan McLeish now in with this as well. It's a 3-car dogfight to the end here. What's going to happen here is Stuart Black onto the back. You can see 1, 2, 3 bumps. Ryan McLeish trying to go around the outside. He's going to take Stuart Black into the final corner. Gets the move done before it's even done and dusted, and is going to leave Ben Mason to take the win of this race. But is it going to be? Because it's a drag race. I think Ben Mason is going to take checkered flag, so Ben Mason wins ahead of Ryan McLeish. Stuart Black, who was looking so comfortable for taking this race win. It looked like he was setting everything up for that last lap there. Was absolutely caught by Ryan McLeish there. Takes 3rd place and a final podium position there. My goodness me, drama. Ben McNeice is going to finish in 4th position. Billy Waite holds on to 5th position there. Pino Palazzo in 6th. It's then Brad Bowie in 7th. Mark Reed in 8th position. LB Clark is going to finish in 10th. Scott Smith will finish in 11th. 12th place is going to be Stuart Robertson, and not finishing the race is Peter McKernan. You'll notice we missed out 9th position there. Driver doesn't have the transponder working, so we can't ID that car just yet. We will work that one out, but a great win there for Ben Mason. Very fortuitous that Ryan McLeish fighting that final lap there with Stuart Black. So a fantastic race here. Really enjoyed that, and looking forward to more of that coming up later on today. So that was the Scottish Legends Cars Championship. They are going to be back out on track at 2:20. Up next, though, is going to be the Scottish C1 Cup. That is what we have got on the way next. And a huge thank you to the Scottish Motor Trade Association for making that championship happen. But the cars making their way in. And as we said, the Legends aren't a stranger here to racing at Knockhill. They always provide fast and intense racing, and as we said, great to see them back here as guests, as very welcome guests of the SMRC. But the Legends cars are making their way through. They are making their way into the holding area just now, and now would be a great time, I guess, to throw over to Andy Alston. And I could also see Knockhill's very own Tom Davis in there as well, Andy. So you're going to have to be quick, buddy.
Yeah, a dramatic opener there in the Legends, but it was Ben Mason, car number 22, who finished ahead of the pack with a dramatic race from start to finish. He really put on quite the show, but he is leading the way at the front. So the 22 car is finishing at the front. We'll grab a quick chat with him here in a moment, and here he is. Ben, Many congratulations. You put on quite the show there for us to watch. What was that like for you?
Hard work, especially when you've got these two buggers in the background behind you. But nah, it was awesome. I knew they were starting behind me to start with, so I just know I need to kind of get away and get a break from them. And I did for a little minute, for a lap maybe of that, and then Stuart was kind of coming back at me. So, but now I just kind of controlled the race. I could see kind of Ryan catching up with this. I was kind of hoping that him and Stuart would battle, but it's just got the last corner. I think Ryan just pipped him to the post. But now I've got a slightly knackered back bumper, I think, from Stuart bump drafting me up the straight. But other than that, the car's in one piece, all four wheels still there. So excellent race.
Can't ask for any more than that then, can you?
Exactly, buddy. Exactly. So.
Ben, many congratulations. Ben Mason there, crossing the start-finish line in the lead there. Let's grab a quick chat with the 71 driver of Ryan McLeish. Ryan, you just got second there right at the end. Really dramatic finale there for you. How are you feeling after that one?
No, it was great. We started last on the grid, so near the back. I had a couple of slower guys behind me, but we worked our way through. But I had a bit of a gap to close, but I seemed to close it in quite a short period of time, so we'll see what we can do in the next one.
You feel the yellow flag towards the end, the last couple of laps, maybe went against you a little bit?
Probably, because that meant Ben and Stuart weren't fighting, and it's when they're fighting and going back and forth with each other that I'm managing to close the gap. So, no, it's racing, we'll see what happens in the next one.
That's it. Many congratulations, well done out there. That's the 71-man Ryan McLeish there, taking second place in the end. But we'll grab a quick chat with Stuart Black here in the number 52. Stuart, you have taken the final step on the podium there, but I feel you should have really had second there, just pipped at the finish.
I've just admitted there now that I didn't see the last lap board, so I thought there was one more lap to go. My mistake. I'm happy with third. Third's a good result for me. First race of the day, another two to go. We'll see how it unfolds.
That's it, and that's the beauty of the Legends, isn't it? There's pure drama from start to finish in all these races.
There always is, yeah. So I start further up the grid this time. We'll see where that develops for the second race.
We notice you're doing quite a bit of bump drafting as well throughout, but you just try to bide your time and then just make the move towards the end of the race.
If you move into first coming around that back straight, you're just a sitting duck because of the wind. So these cars aren't exactly aerodynamic, and I'd like to say I just try to bide my time, box cover and see what happens.
Yeah, that's it. Stuart, well done out there. Many congratulations. Stuart Black there taking the final step of the podium, and with not long to go now, I'll hand back to Dave Christie to get the next race underway.
Thank you very much, Andy Alston, down there in the holding area with our Scottish legends there. Just to confirm then, Ben Mason taking the win from Ryan McLeish in second place, and Stuart Black rounding out your podium. So let's head over to our next race then, which is going to be the SMTA, the Scottish Motor Trade Association, Scottish C1 Cup. A relatively new championship in terms of the SMRC. We brought this in about 2019. Your boy here is a very big fan of it. Used to race in the City Car Cup down south and in the C1 endurance race at Silverstone. They've taken the race, the role of budget racing by storm. Great fun, incredible value for money, and very, very enjoyable indeed, but definitely not one to take up if you have a weak eco and some poor skill like myself. A man who does not have poor skill is Sam Corson, who is currently leading the Scottish C1 Cup Championship, 7 points ahead of Finlay Brunton just now in second place there. Ross Dunn currently in third position with 94 points, as you can see on the screen here. Kyle Nisbet in fourth there. James Hitchin in fifth. Thomas Comer in sixth position. Callum Conway, Paul Winfield, Martin Nisbet and Andrew Davidson. Again, fantastic to see so many of these names that both myself and Andy Alston immediately recognised from some of the very first seasons of the SMRC Esports Championships that they did, and just brilliant to see that some of these youngsters have taken the C1 Cup as their first way into the championship. Moving on to the newcomers then, Paul Winfield currently ahead of that one with 142 points. James Hitchin in second place with 140. Martin Nisbet in third, joint with Ian Wilson. Lasso Benet in fifth position. Max Watt in sixth. Ian Cochrane in seventh, and Henrik Gillespie in eighth. And again, still plenty of points to play for. Let's head to the grid for our race then. And as we said, it's going to be Sam Corson alongside Aidan Wilson on one of the grid. James Hitchin and Finlay Brunton in row 2. Thomas Comer and Ross Dunn are going to line up on row 3 alongside Andrew Davison and Henry Gillespie in row 4. Moving down then into row 5, and it's going to be Max Watt alongside Paul Winfield. Row 3, Rich Flett with Callum Conway. Mark Nisbet is alongside Lazou Benet in row 7, and then row 8 is going to be Gordon Melville, John Proctor in that 15th and 16th position. Row 9 at the back of the grid, all by himself, Ian Quinn, but not for long. It is going to be a very, very interesting race that we've got. 10 laps is what we have on the schedule for this one. Our first race today, and great to see these little cars making their way round. As I said, they might be small, but they might be micro, but they are very much mighty little machines. Great fun to drive, and if you get the opportunity or it takes your fancy, absolutely do it. Plenty of these teams up here in Scotland and nationwide offer arrive and drive packages, so definitely worth checking out. And as always, as we said, a huge thank you to the Scottish Motor Trade Association for partnering up with the SMRC and making this championship happen. You're watching the SMRC Live August race day here from Knockhill Racing Circuit, sponsored by Reese Motorsport Insurance, just a couple of minutes away from our third race of the day. Third race of 4 in this morning's schedule even, that we've got on the way today. And then after this one is going to be the Scottish Classic Sports and Saloons for their first race of the day. Malcolm Smith is going to be joining me in the commentary box for that one. But the cars lined up on the grid then for the C1s. Again, don't expect rocket ship starts. These are very, very modest machines. These are more in kind with what you would take to Tesco on a Friday afternoon to do your big shop than your bona fide race cars. But I promise you, once you're behind the wheel of one of these things, it all goes out the window. And every single person I've spoken to leaves an experience with these C1s with the biggest smile on their faces. They don't understand how something so cheap can be so much fun and so enjoyable indeed. As we said, given the context of the championship, remember, it is all about Sam Corson right now. That fight has been raging on through the season with Finlay Brunton. The two of them, Sam Corson in the 68 and Finlay Brunton in the number 13. They are going to be first and fourth position. Sam Corson in the 68 in pole and Finlay Brunton in that fourth position. 5-second board gets held out and we get ready to go green here. The lights are on the gantry board. The engine notes very quietly rise from the Citroen C1s, and away we go for the first race. And that's a terrible start for Aidan Wilson. That is a head-in-hands moment. That car did not go anywhere, and that takes quite a lot because these cars are slow at the best of times. That away we go over Duffus Dip then for the first time. And you can see the cars almost 3 abreast there. Great start for Sam Corson in the 68. 2 wheels onto the curbing, and that was a bit rude, I'll be honest with you. That was a little bit rude from, I think that might have been Finlay Brunton into James Hitchin there. Yeah, we'll kind of glaze over that one like that one didn't actually just happen here. However, all the cars making their way through the first lap here. And normally what you'll have to do is you need to give the cars a little lap or two to get themselves settled down. But that's not what they're doing. We've got 3 wide coming down the back stretch here. We're just starting as we mean to go on with this C1 Cup here. And it's still Sam Corson ahead then in the lead of the championship and in the lead of the race as well there. You can see that 5.29 of James Hitchin, so confirming, I believe it was Finlay Brunton who came barreling into the curb at McIntyre's on that first lap round though. So it's Corson from Brunton, from Hitchin. Ross Dunn makes a move up into 4th position. Thomas Comer into to 5th position as well, with Henry Gillespie down in 6th. But have a look at this. That is going to be right up to the back bumper then. Finlay Brunton up to the back of Sam Corson. And remember how I said we take about a lap or so just to kind of bed the drivers in, get them up to speed. Yeah, forget that now. It's going to be absolute fireworks between these two. We've had it all through the season so far, and it's just going to pick up where it left off then. Your two championship protagonists are nose to tail on the track right now. So the cars come streaming over Clark Corner then. Some of them deciding to pick up a little bit of kit litter there. As you see Ross Dunn making a move up the inside then into James Hitchin. Gets it done. That was very cool, calm and collected there from James Hitchin to let that place go to Ross Dunn. Possibly because Ross Dunn fancies getting, James Hitchin fancies getting the cutback back on Ross Dunn. They're still side by side. And again, from experience, when you're in these cars, when you're on a straight like this, you're jumping up and down in the car, trying to get any sort of life into the car, any sort of traction. Up the inside, James Hitchin holds on to that third position. Ross Dunn denied getting that podium place right now. That's going to allow your two race leaders of Sam Corson and Finlay Brunton to get a little bit more momentum and a little bit more of a gap up the road there. They are nose to tail right now. The smart move for Finlay Brunton right now would be just to tuck in behind Sam Corson, would be just to keep into the mirrors of that car in front. Let him know that he's there, but not actually force the situation. Keep the pressure on. That would be, I would have thought, the wisest move right now, because we've got 8 laps left to go. If you show your hand too early, then you're leaving yourself open, as we saw with the legends in that last race, though, as the 23 and 88 side by side. That's Thomas Comer and Henry Gillespie. You can hear the squeal of the brake pads here, as all the cars, thankfully, still making it happen here. And that is going to be Thomas Comer again with Henry Gillespie, still side by side. Gillespie almost forced onto the grass here. It's going to be a battle of the late breakers into turn 1 then. Our two race leaders make it through, but who's going to come through? I think it's actually Henry Gillespie. So I think Gillespie making the move up into 5th position there as Thomas Comer relegated. Yep, there's confirmation then. So a great move that all started on the exit of that final corner. And Thomas Gillespie then up into 5th position there. A little clatter of the curbing coming over the chicane. That's going to give a little peek there on the inside for Thomas Comer. You can't do that. These cars are so desperate to get any sort of momentum whatsoever. And look at that. That is going to be Henry Gillespie losing not just 1 position, not just potentially 2, but maybe even 3 as well. Because look at the 497. Max Watt, it's a melee in the midfield right now for the C1s right now. The 497 of Max Watt tries to send it up the inside over the 88 of Henry Gillespie. Gillespie hung out to dry. He's going to try and come back on there. 3 wide, contact, and that was unnecessary. I think a little bit overly aggressive from the 88, trying to force every single car it possibly can out onto the grass there. And I tell you what, Henry Gillespie is going to be off the Christmas card list, I think, for a few drivers after this race here. Absolute madness right now. The problem is, for Gillespie, and again, I've been in this situation myself, is the fact that the red mist descends. You know, he's gone for being 5th position and running really, really well, and now suddenly he's looking to be out of the top 10. And he's thinking to himself, what has just happened here? The red mist descends, and you're so desperate to hold on to any position that you can, you don't realise you're overdriving the car, and you just go backwards and backwards and backwards, and your day just gets even worse. The best thing for Henry to do is just to relax, take a breather, and just try and keep himself into this race whatsoever. Because what's going to happen is he's very close to being dumped by another 3 cars just now. That's going to be the 24 late onto the brakes on the outside there. That's Ian Wilson trying to make a recovery drive here. And this is going from bad to worse for Henry Gillespie. Back up at the front though, your leaders Sam Corson ahead of Finlay Brunton right now. We've just got 5 laps left to go in this first race for the SMTA C1 Cup. And there are your race leaders then. Sam Corson ahead of Finlay Brunton down into McIntyre's. We've got a yellow flag, which possibly means we've got a car off. Safety car board gets taken out there. So we have got a safety car for the C1s. I think I saw a car just off at, potentially off at the right-hand side of Duffus there. We'll get an idea on that. But yellow flag, race gets neutralised then as the safety car comes out there. And one man not quite getting the message there is the number 14 there of Rich Flett, who came flying over the chicane. Not going to lie, that's something I would probably do as well. But there we go. So race calms down a little bit. Now, what this does mean is this is a huge issue for Sam Corson and Finlay Brunton. Because what has happened now, they've worked so hard between them to bring that gap up. You can see there Gordon Melville in the number 12 has gone straight on. And that looks like possibly at the exit of McIntyre's, I'm wondering. And I think that's exactly where that car is just now. So safety car catches the field then. And that will circulate until that number 12 car is deemed to be recovered and in a safe position. And what this does is this bunches the entire field right up. So as I was saying, the two leaders, Sam Corson and Finlay Brunton, will have worked very, very hard to push and to get a gap over the likes of James Hitchin and Ross Dunn. But what that means now is when that safety car comes in, those cars are all going to be bunched together again. And now that means that James Hitchin and Ross Dunn have an opportunity. They have a sniff of being able to just send it up the inside like Finlay Brunton did on that first lap there. And we've seen it happen, and we've seen it not happen. We've seen it be successful, we've seen it be not so successful. But it makes it much more opportunistic now. With just 4 laps left to go, as you can see, this is going to be a very quick recovery there for the number 12 of Gordon Melville. A huge thank you to the recovery team there and all our wonderful Orange Army there, the Orange Army of marshals that we have here up at Knockhill. Some of the best marshals anywhere here in the whole of the UK. We've got very fortunate to have them up here at Knockhill. And also got to say, actually, a big shout out to my good friends Edward and Jamie, who will be out there on the posts and doing their thing as well. So a huge hello to them as well as former colleagues Dunk Vincent, Dr. Robert Johnson, and Tom Davis. They'll be doing their magic here at the circuit as well as part of the on-circuit commentary team as well. It was always a pleasure to be around them, although never actually had the pleasure of meeting Tom Davis. And just thinking with obviously Andy Alston, we all worked together as part of the esports team as well. So fantastic to see that the community up here, very, very close-knit and kind of sticking together on that one. But I get the impression that might be the final safety car lap, because that car has been recovered. It's been dragged out of the gravel. It'll likely be able to make its way round under its own steam here. We'll keep an eye on the safety car. So the safety car lights are still on just now. They may not go on until a little bit later round the track here. But this is something that you see in other forms of motorsport, in sports car racing, in Formula One. The cars will weave left and right to get heat into those tyres. And believe it or not, it's very important for these little C1s as well. Because they're very light, there's no weight to them whatsoever, and it's standard, they're track tyres that these cars are running. So it's not like super slicks or super fancy, anything like that. These are road-going tyres that are on these cars here. So they do have to get the heat into them. The other thing that very much surprised me from speaking to people that do race in the Scottish Championship as well is the insanely high pressures that they run in the tyres. Normally in your road car you would have a tyre pressure of anywhere between up to about sort of 30 to 40 psi. These cars do about 50 to 60 psi. But that's enough of the chat. The safety car pulls in. We go racing again. What a start from Sam Corson and Finlay Brunton. And James Hitchin has been left absolutely sound asleep at the wheel there. They have just blitzed the gap way ahead of them just now. That's got to be, a good 2-3 seconds that they are ahead of Sam Corson and Finlay Brunton come down through the hill then. 4 laps left to go in this first race of the day for the SMTA Citroen C1 Cup. A little bit onto the gravel there for Thomas Comer there. He just caught it on the edge of the picture here. But this is your two race leaders then. Sam Corson in the 68 ahead of Finlay Brunton in the 13. The two of them just absolutely going for it right now. Further behind, you can see the 529 of James Hitchin ahead of Ross Dunn. Thomas Comer is under attack there from Andrew Davidson as well in that number 70 machine there. You can see as they come out. It's side by side. That's Max Watt and Paul Winfield that are side by side just in the background. Who's going to be the braver of the late breakers on that one? It looks like that is going to be the 822, but again they go side by side coming out of that final corner there. You can see Thomas Comer having a fight on for dear life to hold on to that position from Andrew Davidson right now. 3 laps left to go in this race, and so many questions left to be answered in this race. Looks like Sam Corson opening up a little bit of a gap over Finlay Brunton. We saw this one of the last times here at Knockhill, though. Finlay Brunton can just close up that gap in an absolute instant, so do not be mistaken. Half a second might be the difference right now, as that was almost the look there from the number 70 there of Andrew Davidson. Never going to work through into Butchers here, but again it will work on the exit of Clark's here. If you can get a good run through this corner here, keep the momentum up, keep the revs up in that car, and that's a big run wide there for Thomas Comer into the gravel, but doesn't look like it's cost him any time whatsoever in that number 23 machine. We're coming into the final hairpin then with 2 laps left to go. You can see the car weaving left and right, under braking there, and I tell you what, these might only be 1 litre engines, but that makes you feel like an absolute superstar when you're able to hold on to the car when it's dancing about like that. It's not particularly fast, mind you, but it is very, very fun indeed. So Andrew Davidson trying to throw that car any which way that he can as we look to our race leaders then. 2 laps left to go, ladies and gentlemen. Our penultimate lap of our first race for the SMTA Citroen C1 Cup here in Scotland for the SMRC. Over through the second half of the circuit then. You do get the feeling that Finlay Brunton is just poised like a very dangerous creature, just waiting to make the move on Sam Corson, because he knows he doesn't want to get into a fight with Sam Corson. He wants to just make a move into the final hairpin, and that's it, done and dusted. He doesn't want to drag out a proper dogfight with Sam Corson. But we're coming up to the hairpin then for the second to last time. Huge move up the inside for Finlay Brunton, and that's exactly how you do it. It's a block stop onto the apex of the corner, and out of absolutely nowhere, Finlay Brunton takes the lead of the race with 1 lap left to go. We've got a driving standards flag for Thomas Comer in the number 23, black and white flag there, but the last lap goes out. Oh my goodness me, that was a huge move up the inside for Finlay Brunton, and it's all on Sam Corson. What can do there? You saw James Hitchin getting it all wrong on the inside there, tries to put it up the inside there, on the side of the gravel, and Finlay Brunton manages to somehow snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, and he's going to be lucky if he even ends up on the podium here. And that is going to be James Hitchin into second place. Now, is it going to be up the inside for Ross Dunn? Finlay Brunton went from hero to zero in the space of a corner, running wide on the exit of McIntyre's, and that is going to hand the victory on a silver platter for it's going to be Sam Corson, and that is going to be monumental for the championship, because it's going to be lucky if he ends up on the podium. Sam Corson, though, onto the brakes, into the hairpin. You can see side by side Ross Dunn is going to be side by side with Finlay Brunton there. It looks like Brunton's going to get that last step on the podium. We'll have to wait and see. But it's going to be a race win then for Sam Corson across the line. James Hitchin in second place. It is going to be Finlay Brunton to take third place there. My goodness me, what a last lap that was in our first race for the Scottish Motor Trade Association C1 Cup here on the SMRC. I hope you guys at home enjoyed that one. That was crazy, crazy action on that final lap. Sam Corson, the cream of the crop right there. You have to take your chances. You have to throw the car in and be able to make it work. It was a amazingly stern move from Finlay Brunton on that last corner, on the penultimate lap to try and make that happen. And he got it working. He got that car stopped on the apex. Sam Corson had nothing to answer with. But it was a move on the inside of McIntyre's. It was wide for Finlay Brunton into the gravel. And that is what cost him the race win. That is the fine margin in which things can change. So a huge win for the championship for Sam Corson. That will give him some very much needed points ahead of Finlay Brunton. But it has to be said, Brunton did an amazing job of getting that car back onto the podium. James Hitchin, let's not forget, getting a wicked, wicked second place in that number 529 machine. Finlay Brunton takes third position. And it was also unlucky for Ross Dunn to miss out on a podium position, but he'll be hoping for some of the spoils next time out. Fourth place for Ross Dunn. Thomas Comer is going to finish in fifth, Paul Winfield in sixth, Andrew Davidson in seventh, Max Watt in eighth, Henry Gillespie in ninth. It's going to be Ian Wilson in 10th, Callum Conway in 11th, Lazou Benet in 12th, Mark Nisbet in 13th position, Rich Flett in 14th, Ian Cochrane in 15th, John Proctor finishing in 16th position. So, a wild, wild race there. And I know that Andy Alston was sitting beside me for most of that one. Andy, I'm going to throw it over to you, buddy, but oh my goodness me, what a last lap to that race.
Pure drama, not just in the last lap, of course, Dave, but throughout that race. You know, we had a safety car, we had, you know, elbows out, you know, corner after corner. But it's this man here, Sam Corson, who takes the checkered flag in the opener in the Scottish C1 Cup. He will be absolutely delighted with that, and rightly so. The number 68 car, he knew that he had to have a strong start here in the opener. Just having a quick word with Finlay Brunton. Both of them were fighting tooth and nail throughout that race. They're just having a quick chat there. But it was James Hitchin in the 529 who took second place in the end. We'll grab a very quick chat with James, actually, James, because that was really entertaining for us to watch. But what was that like for you?
Very fun. Didn't expect it to be as close as it was. Got hung out to dry on lap one, to be honest. But then after the safety car, I got caught sleeping, to be honest. But then got elbows out and got second, so can't complain. Happy days.
Absolutely. So what's the kind of the mindset going into race number 2 then? Because you must take a lot of confidence from that one.
Definitely. I mean, Cadwell with the double win was good, but second, I'll take it. It's the first time we've not improved, but I suppose there's nowhere to really go from first. So race 2, we'll just try and aim for second or first again. Keep the upwards trajectory going.
That's great stuff, James. Many congratulations out there. James Hitchin in the 529 taking second place there at the end. Let's grab a quick chat here just with our P1 and P3 man, Finlay Brunton. Third in the end after putting on a great show from us. Really got a good move done early in the start of the race. Of course, the safety car then coming into contention as well. But Finlay, as you just settle yourself down, just reflecting on that one. So much to take in, really. But how do you feel after that?
I'm up 2 places from when I started. It's obviously a great positive. Making the moves early on, and obviously the main target for the race was Sam. I stuck behind Sam, and I was just biding my time to make the move. I could see that we were getting a gap to ourselves, and then the safety car came out, so kind of reset that a bit. But we managed to get a good safety car restart, and then I managed to get a move done on Sam, and then the same lap threw it off, and then hit McIntyre's there, and Sam managed to get back up, and I got demoted back into 4th place. Managed to get back up into 3rd place, and then of course that would be the last lap as well. So finish on the podium, 1 place up from where I began, but we've lost, we've fallen back a wee bit in the championship to Sam, so I'm hoping the reverse draw might help me out there.
The thing is as well, you made such a positive start, as you mentioned, with the safety car, because it would be quite easy to have been dropped there at that point, but you were right behind Sam, and it was just almost a case of just not enough laps almost, if anything, because as you say, you were really just beginning to reel him in, bide your time, and then you did manage to get the move, but unfortunately just couldn't make it stick.
Yeah, the whole time I was kind of eyeing up different moves into different corners and thinking about, where I might be at an advantage over Sam, and it was just finding the one that be most likely to work, and also finding the one that would be would cause minimal loss to lap times as well for the cars behind. So I was really happy with the move into the hairpin, and it would have been a race win 100%, but it was my fault. I made the mistake under the pressure on the next lap after that, and that is what it is. So on to race 2.
Well, best of luck, Finlay. Great driving out there. Well done.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Finlay Brunton there taking the final step of the podium in the opener. We'll grab a quick chat with the winner in race number 1, Sam Cors in car number 68. Sam, that was a really good bit of defensive driving in particular from you there, but having to contend with the safety car restart as well. Lots to go throughout that race, but you must be very, very pleased to come out in the top step of the podium.
Yeah, that was good. Obviously, got to do a wee bit with the contact I made with Finlay. It's my teammate. You never like that. And Finlay's a great guy, as you know, as well. He's such a gent. We've been so close all season long. To be fair, it was probably going to happen at some point. But thank you to him for being understanding in towards my part in that. And he's just such a gent, such a teammate, such a championship rival. I couldn't ask for anyone better to kind of be against in this championship. So, no, I'm beyond happy.
Tell us a little bit about your approach going into that safety car phase, because you and Finlay had kind of just managed to almost work together a little bit, get a good lead from James and the rest of the pack, and then almost Ross Dunn was getting involved as well and trying to get into podium contention. That allowed you just to really focus on apexes and exits. But when that safety car came in, what was kind of going through your mind at that point?
I wasn't too worried about the initial jump because I knew Finlay wouldn't do anything that would drop us further back. That's a good thing about having kind of a quick teammate on your team. You kind of work together. So I wasn't too worried about that. I just knew that we had to get going, and as long as I wasn't holding him up, he wasn't going to do like a silly lunge or anything. So, brilliant driving from everyone today, I'd say. So it was good fun.
Good stuff, Sam. Many congratulations out there. Very well done today.
Cheers.
Sam Corson, our winner in race number 1 in the Scottish C1 Cup. And with the next race about to get underway, I'll hand you back to Dave Christie in the commentary box.
Thank you very much, Andy Alston, down there in the holding area. And a very, very frank, a very humble Finlay Brunton there, obviously accepting full responsibility for what happens. And as a racing driver, that is absolutely not what you want. When you have a mistake and you know that it's your own fault, oh my goodness me, does that play on the mind. However, it's been an amazing season so far, so I've got no doubt that Finlay will be able to just cast that one off to the side. You can see our Orange Army out there cleaning up the track from some of the volumes of gravel that's been brought onto the track there from the C1 race, which means that I've got a little bit of time for chit-chat, and with it coming up to being the time for the Scottish Classics and Sports and Saloons, means it's a good time to catch up with my good buddy Malcolm Smith. Malcolm, a very warm welcome back to the commentary box. Firstly, obviously, you guys had a wicked time out on the away rounds at Cadwell. How did the drivers enjoy that?
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. A great track, another challenge for the folks that had been there last year. New challenge for ones who hadn't made it to the previous event, and that coupled with super weather and some excellent support from local drivers based closer to Cadwell Park, really made for excellent racing. So the drivers had the joy of Cadwell and some new competitors to meet on and off track. So yeah, very successful event.
And obviously, it's one of the jewels in the crown of the SMRC is the Classic Sports and Saloons. To bring our audience up to speed, what classic qualifies as a classic is basically a car that is manufactured up to 31st of December 1985. There is a Class F, which is future classics for cars between January 85 and December 1990. So delighted to see that I don't qualify for a future classic yet. Soon will be, though. It'll soon be happening. But obviously 1985, in the grand scheme of things, Malcolm, wasn't all that long ago. And as the years go on, we're now casting our net wider to a much bigger array of cars that would be eligible for this championship.
Yeah, that's it's a balance between having cars that would be considered as truly classic, whilst allowing the affordability of the racing to be within the reach of competitors as well. Because if, for example, you take some of the Mark 1 Escorts, which certainly qualify of cars built from the late 60s till the mid-70s, some of these now are of such high value that there's people who would have raced them previously no longer do so. They're the collector's items that are locked away. So at the same time, it isn't always ideal to bring in cars which are too new. So we have the balance of 85 covers a great period for classic vehicles. The future classics will allow more up-to-date, say up to 1990, to come in. There are certainly one or two people looking at doing these at the moment. We've had in the past Mazda MX-5s come in who do support the championship on a regular basis as well. The Peugeot 205 GTI being built at the moment. There's an example of a mid to late 80s onwards car which will fit in nicely with the ones that are around it.
Certainly is. So let's have a quick look at where we stand with the championship so far then. Overall, it's John Kinmans who is currently on top just now, 190 points in that E-class. But as we said, we're counting the overall points here, so this is from all of the classes. Charlie Cope in second place, just 3 points behind with 187 points there. Elliot Patterson, 44 points behind that in D-class. Andrew Graham in fourth position. Adam Kinmans down in fifth, and of course, sharing the legacy, the heritage with those with the Rover outing. Craig Houston down in sixth position, Ian Mitchell down in seventh, Nicky Dixon in eighth, Jimmy Crowe in ninth, and 10th place for Alistair Coates. So let's have a quick look at the grid then, how they line up for the race coming up ahead. And it's going to be pole position for David Brown in the 170 ahead of John Kinmans in the Rover in second place. Andrew Graham is on row 2 in third position ahead of Martin Reynolds. And then it's Mario Ferrari alongside Alistair Coates on row 3. Row 4, Craig Houston and Charles Cope. And then moving down to row 5, it's going to be Adam Kinmans and Jimmy Crowe in 10th respectively. 11th place is going to be Nicky Dixon alongside Colin Calder. Ian Mitchell alongside Ewan Anderson on row 7. Paul Bowers on row 8 with Ian Morton. And then row 9 is going to be Duncan O'Neill and David Riley with Michael Anderson on row 10 as well. So that's how they line up. Now, one name that I noticed is missing is the big bad Alistair Baptiste. No sign of him out today.
No, I don't. I'm not exactly sure why. I don't think he had possibility to race today. He's had a number of outings, though, since the last meeting here. He was at Cadwell Park and he had his MG at the Oulton Park Gold Cup in the Classic Sports Car Club race, and then the week after that he had his Fiat X19 at the Historic Sports Car Club Mod Sports race at Oulton Park. So maybe with all these away events he's not been able to come and enjoy this one, but hopefully we'll see him at the next event. Sadly, we don't have the second placed qualifier, John Kinmans, in the Rover ST1. He's had problems which he's been unable to repair since qualifying. It looks as if it's a differential fault, but he will persevere and try to get it repaired in time for race 2. So unfortunately he won't be on the grid, but as far as I'm aware, all the other cars will line up.
Yeah, it looks that way. And again, as commentators, we're supposed to be completely unbiased, completely straight down the middle. I've got to be honest, I'm gutted not seeing that big, massive machine of John Kinmans out there. It's always a glorious sight just because of the way that he drives that machine as well. It's fantastic to see. Mario Ferrari, though, in that Ferrari 308 GTB, that's a machine and a half. However, David Brown up front in that TVR Griffith. That TVRs have never been known for being subtle machines, have they? They've always had a bit of a reputation for being a little bit wild. But we'll talk more about that in just a second, because the cars now making their way through. You can see the 3 XR2s at the back of the grid as well. That is going to be Duncan O'Neill, David Riley, and that is also going to be Michael Anderson, although Anderson shown as just being in a Ford Fiesta, so I believe that may be the non-XR2 variant on that. And I still can't believe that we would count the XR2s as classics. I feel very, very old at saying that. However, the 1 minute board is held out. We are ready to go with our final race of the morning here at Knockhill Racing Circuit. You're watching the SMRC live race day stream sponsored by Reese Motorsport Insurance. And we are ready to go. It's Dave Christie and Malcolm Smith here in the commentary box. And we'll be joined post-race by Andy Alston. The hooter goes to signify we've got just a couple of seconds left to go for a race. For the red lights get turned on onto the gantry and we get ready to go racing. 5 second board out. Here come the lights then. And then it's going to be it's really fairly standard start, you would think, from David Brown, but lights go out. Great start there from Mario Ferrari on that third row there. Gets a decent start in the Ferrari. Keeps going on though, as everyone away cleanly from the lines. They make their way down into the first corner, then down through Duffus Step. And it looked like Andrew Graham there actually had a little bit of the measure there on the escort there. As you see, Mario Ferrari run wide a little bit there. And those XR2s already start to try and claw their way through the midfield there. But predictably, that TVR Griffith of David Brown, Malcolm, looks to already just be tearing away.
Yeah, he's made a very good start. Excellent performances in the past from David in this car. And yeah, it has super power to weight ratio that, as you saw, as it got its way off the line. And already making quite a bit of ground on the 78 Triumph TR7 V8 of Andy Graham, followed there by Martin Reynolds, Mari Ferrari and Alistair Coates in the green MGB, just keeping ahead of the white Golf of Charlie Cope.
I've got to say, Malcolm, I've never seen a shot before where I've got a 308 GTB side by side with a Volkswagen Golf GTI. That's quite the eclectic mix.
Yeah, the joy of multi-class racing, and a beautiful car that Mario has restored. It really is absolutely pristine, and credit to his ability in restoration.
It really is. The thing looks absolutely resplendent as it comes over the hill at Clark there, but that Golf GTI isn't hanging about whatsoever either, as David Brown still in the lead of this race then from Andrew Graham. Martin Reynolds in third place, Mario Ferrari down there in fourth. That's going to be a look up the inside for the Golf GTI and makes the move on Alistair Coates and Charlie Cope then side by side. That's a great move for position, and that is going to be fifth position for that Golf GTI there. Or is it because then suddenly that MGB just roars into life, that V8 engine side by side, and they're still almost side by side coming down through Duffus there, but the Golf GTI perhaps having a little bit more luck going into the corner there. So again, opening up a couple of car lengths is Charlie Cope in that B-class car. Just now we've got a yellow flag, and that is not good because there was no other cars nearby there, and that looks to have been a car. Now, was that David Brown? We very, very briefly saw it there, but there was a car into the infield on the right-hand side there.
I think it might have been the Lotus Elan of Colin
Calder. Yeah, that's a great spot there, Malcolm. Down at the bottom of the timing screens, 2 laps down there, so that's exactly who it'll be there. The excitement maybe having to be tempered a little bit just now, and in fact, there you go, you can see already off into the distance is Martin Reynolds in that Ford Escort ahead of Mario Ferrari just now, and again, that Escort does really, really look the part right now. It looks like it would be more at home on a rally stage than perhaps on the track here.
Yeah, the Escort wide arch style, and credit to Martin Reynolds. He's travelled 360 miles from southeast England to come here to race today. So what a commitment to come to a circuit that he really enjoys.
It's fantastic to hear, of course. Many of the drivers travelling from far and wide, a lot of them based up here in Scotland, but many of them based all the way through the rest of the UK, and enjoy making the trip up to Knockhill because it's such a unique challenge compared to many of the other tracks that are out there. 8 laps left to go in this race then. It's still David Brown in the lead as well, that wait, what? How did a Golf GTI just take over the Ferrari 308 GTV now have got to think that that's going to be a problem for the Ferrari.
Yeah, it seemed to slow quite considerably there. Yeah, and we see Alistair Coates in the green MGB V8 pass as well. So something has slowed the Ferrari's progress considerably. Hopefully it's nothing too serious and it will be able to get it. Oh, Craig Houston in the Lotus off the track there and rejoining. So I don't know what's happened with him. It's Houston slowed back considerably there with that time off the track, and Jimmy Crowe in the Escort, Adam Kinmond in the Rover, and now 69 Nicky Dixon's Lotus Cortina coming up into shot there, and now out of shot as we see again 91 Houston's Lotus with Jimmy Crowe really close beside him and going for the inside at the hairpin, but not quite.
Yeah, not quite, but he certainly made the move there. Knew that he would have the inside line, but it did look like that Adam Kinman just had to drive out of the corner. But they're going to have to watch out there because just behind him as well, that was Craig Houston that was in front. And that is going to be just behind him, Adam Kinman. So Crowe manages somehow to get it through. It just shows how nimble that little car is, able to make it happen. And the 91 of Craig Houston in that Lotus XL, it's a bigger machine, it's a stronger machine. But again, Jimmy Crowe just able to make it work, getting the tight, twisty technical sections here. Really seems to be where that Ford Escort Mark 1 shines.
Yeah, Jimmy's years of experience and some subtle suspension modifications and new set of tyres there, all adding up to a fair combination of handling, but not quite. I say not quite pace setting, but avoiding the Lotus XL there as Adam Kinman gets ever closer with the three-way drag up the main straight.
I do believe that was the dictionary definition there of optimistic there from Craig Houston. Sent it from about 3 weeks ago there. Very lucky to get the car stopped in time. Did get it stopped in time, but absolutely compromised the exit of that. Sent up the inside into McIntyre's again. It's safe to say at this point, I think that Craig Houston would quite like to have this sixth position. That is certainly the overwhelming opinion that is coming out of this one. Jimmy Crowe still sat in seventh position right now with Adam Kinman just tucked up very nicely. He's just waiting very patiently in that eighth position, but 5 laps left to go. It's still David Brown in the lead of the race from Andrew Graham, Martin Reynolds in third position, Charlie Cope in the Volkswagen in fourth position. That's going to be a move on the inside from Adam Kinman, late on the brakes as you like, and Jimmy Crowe sees it coming and just has to let it happen. However, what you saw as always from that Rover Vitesse, struggles to get the power down on exit, a little bit too keen with the power on that right foot there, and the car just jinks from left to right as it struggles with traction there, Malcolm.
Yes, it was extra power of the Rover on the back straight, allowed him to get up the inside of Jimmy Crowe, and a difficult manoeuvre, as you say, coming back out. And as I'm saying that, we saw the Lotus of Colin Calder moving again. So it's earlier being stationary was perhaps a little more short-lived than we thought it might have been. So as he's back on the track, we see David Brown, 173 TVR Griffith, well ahead now of second place Andy Graham. As we switch back to the action there, that's Nicky Dixon and David Steele with Brown, the TVR, approaching them as he comes up beside the O'Neill Racing XR2, number 36 there of Steele, and he'll pass him on the way up to the start-finish line. Meanwhile, the Class A battle is led there by Ian Mitchell's Vauxhall Nova in number 11 with Paul Bowers, Fiat, very close behind him here for the lead of Class A. These 3 cars in Class A today, these 2 and the A40 of Ian Morton, and the later entry XR2 coming up, as you see there, number 3. That runs in Class C because it has a Ford engine from a later vehicle. It doesn't run the CVH engine that the other two O'Neill Racing cars have fitted to them, which are needed to comply with XR2 rules. But real close here with Mitchell and Bowers, and number 3 Fiesta not far off them either. So we've seen action at the front, action in the middle with Crow, Houston and Kinmond, and here we are further back down the event. Wow, as close as they are, battling at the lead.
Yeah, it certainly is. And also just noticed there, Colin Calder actually retiring from the race. So the car just coming through pit lane and coming past our commentary box here, as you're seeing side by side. That's a late move up the inside there. That's the 71 of Paul Bowers on the 11 there of Ian Mitchell. Gets the move done, as cool, calm and collected as you like, but it does look like that that Nova is not having any of it whatsoever. They're still side by side. How has that Fiat 128 been done in a straight line from that Vauxhall Nova? Well, I guess stranger things will happen, but wow, that was fairly succinct there from the number 11 at Ian Mitchell.
Yeah, and as the two of these cars battle away, here we have our number 3 holding in abeyance, ready to take over at any moment. But this is a superb performance between Bowers, Mitchell in the Class A, with the Class C invitee coming now between them.
Yeah, certainly is. So last lap then, we've just gone on board with just now as our race leader David Brown comes down through Duffus and comes up through the chicane there. Now, normally we'd moan about the checkered flag graphic coming up on screen, but it's safe to say, I mean, this is kind of a foregone conclusion at this race. It's been, an exemplary drive from the TVR Griffith, but I would imagine slightly lonely for him in that 173. However, a race win's a race win. He's not actually going to care, I would imagine. But out of the hairpin then, for the final time, it's been a lights to flag victory then for the Class C driver in the TVR Griffith. Then David Brown in the 173 takes the race win. Andrew Graham is going to finish in second place on the track, and Martin Reynolds is going to finish across the line 11 seconds later in third position. Alistair Coates going to finish in fourth. Fifth position is going to be Charlie Cope. Craig Houston in sixth position. Adam Kinmond in seventh. Jimmy Crow in eighth. Nicky Dixon in ninth. Ian Mitchell in 10th, Paul Bowers in 11th position, Michael Anderson in 12th, Ewan Anderson in 13th, Ian Morton in 14th, Duncan O'Neill in 15th, David Riley in 16th, Colin Calder, DNF, retiring from that race with about 3 laps ago on that one. But a great win for David Brown in his class. Martin Reynolds is a guest, so he won't score points on that. Charlie Cope takes the honours for B class. It's going to be David Brown for C class. Ian Mitchell will take the win in A class, and then in D class it's going to be Adam Kinmond in that Rover Vitesse, and as we said, Andrew Graham in E class, with the XR2s is going to go to Duncan O'Neill. So there we go, the car just making its way into the pit lane just now. It'll probably be another 30 seconds or so before we get everybody into pit lane. I can see our rather nimble roving reporter Andy Elston down there just chilling in the glorious lunchtime sunshine here at Knockhill Racing Circuit. But Andy, a fantastic race there yet again for the Classics. They never disappoint, and I think it's safe to say David Brown going to have a very big smile on his face after that one.
Yes, he certainly will, Dave. Great driving there. David Brown, there he is in the 173, just pulling up now. Be very happy with that performance. Quite a comfortable lead that he had at the end, just over 12 seconds or so, but he won't mind one bit about that, I suspect. Very strong, commanding performance from the 173 car. David Brown, very happy with that one. But great action throughout the field, it must be said as well, Dave. You know, that's the beauty of multi-class racing. We're always treated to some great battles throughout the field. And yeah, Dave will just be getting ready to speak to him in a little moment or so. Car will be looking good, be quite happy with that. We've got the 78 just pulled up alongside him. But Dave, let's have a quick chat with you now. How do you feel after that one? What's the thoughts after that?
It was a bit of a workout, to be honest. We had a few problems with the brake pedal, and it's still there, but I've just basically got to brake slightly earlier and be a bit more gentle in the down changes to kind of match the revs. But all in all, I can't complain.
You do anything looking ahead to the next race to try and mitigate it a little bit if you can, or is it maybe just maybe not enough time to do anything major?
Probably more tie wraps and duct tape, and I think that'll sort it. So
that's always the way of it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Sure.
Great stuff, Dave. Very congratulations, and hope everything goes well for race number 2. David Brown there in the TVR, the 173 car. He'll be really pleased with his performance there. But we'll just jump over in a moment to the 78 and just get the thoughts there of Andy Graham. Car again looking in really good condition. Let's have a quick chat with him here. And Andy, what's your thoughts after that one? Car's still feeling good? Everything okay?
Car's feeling really good. I just need to try and catch up with this TVR. Even whatever I do, it's leaving me for dead. I think I'm going to put about 4 tons of slab in the boot so he doesn't notice, so I can catch him up in the second race. But other than that, car's going really well. I'm over the moon. Looking forward to the second one.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about the kind of preparation that you do going into a race with these cars. Is there anything in particular you do just to get them race ready?
See, over the last couple of years, you would basically need to strip the whole car down to get race ready. But now, it's just to change pads, put a bit of fuel in it, make sure I'm ready, and I'm good to go. So, it takes a wee bit of time, but this is going really reliable for this year, so I'm really over the moon with it.
Glad to hear it. Very well done out there today.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to the second one.
And that's the number 78 car there. Let's just take a quick chat with a couple of other drivers here if we can. We've got the XR2s here as well. We've got this Volkswagen Golf, which had a very, very interesting race to say the least. But it's let's get a quick chat with Mr. O'Neill here actually in the XR2, because there was some great scraps throughout there as well, must be said. But Duncan, just how do you feel after that one? How's it?
That was good. It was good getting in with the rest of the mob at the end. But that was a good laugh. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, definitely. We were just saying there, that's the beauty of multi-class racing. You always get great action throughout the field, but sometimes a bit easier said than done when you're having to get the elbows out of there.
Yeah, I was nearly off the track a couple of times there, but the car stuck like glue, so I'm still in one piece, so that was a good thing. Yeah, definitely enjoyed it. It was good bit racing out there at the back lot is, but it was good. Enjoyed it.
What's the game plan going into the second race later this afternoon?
Just be the same. I'll just keep plodding. The car's going well. I'm not going to change anything on it, so I'll just keep it as it is. So hopefully it finishes. It's still a wee bit warm today, so she's handling well. She's really handling well out there. So a close one down in the hairpin, but she managed to come back out the gravel track and back on again, so that was good, definitely.
Good stuff, very well done out there.
Thank you. Cheers.
And I think we're just going to take a quick break, but the action will return very soon, so I'll hand you back to Dave Christie in the commentary box.
Well, thank you very much for that, Andy. Down in pit lane. It's lunchtime, ladies and gentlemen. We are all off to enjoy some rather nice sandwiches and pastries and all that sort of good stuff, but do not go anywhere just now. And we will be coming back to you later on this afternoon. Remember, our first race of the afternoon is going to be scheduled for around about 1:30. That is going to be the Scottish Fiesta ST Cup, the first race of several, and we're going to end things this afternoon around about 4:15 with the Scottish Legends Car Championship. We'll see you very, very shortly. Action resumes 1:30. Do not go anywhere, and we will see you very, very shortly.